The one thing that you have to understand is that when you learn to speak with your originally coded voice, your DNA coded voice, it's going to create the momentum, the breakthrough, and the success that you know you can have and that you've been craving inside of your business, inside of your leadership. And the reason that happens is because your voice and the way you deliver it, the way you deliver the news, the way you deliver the goods, and your specific frequency that you are literally built to make is like honey to the ears of your listeners. It's that vocal honey. And we're going to talk today about what vocal honey is, why you need to understand and embrace it and find your signature note, your signature frequency. By the way, if you haven't yet, subscribe, follow, because this is going to be the breakthrough you need inside of your life, inside of your business, inside of your leadership. So many people do not speak with their originally coded voice. And I refer to this as your nectar note because think about it. In order to get honey, in order to have vocal honey, which is the experience of being inside of your frequency, it's the collective movement, it's the overall effect. That vocal honey is the whole ecosystem of who you are, front and center, displayed by your voice. That's vocal honey. But in order to get to honey, we need nectar. That's what the bee is seeking. And this is same for you and your voice. In order to have the experience of vocal honey and to have it do its thing, the vocal honey effect, you need to have vocal nectar or your nectar note. And that is exactly what we're talking about today. It's your DNA coded voice. And to find your nectar note, you need to be doing a series of things, practices with your body, with your mind, with your breath. So I want you to know right here, right now, that although I'm a spiritual person, there really is not a lot of spirituality when it comes to finding your nectar note. It's a lot of physical mechanics. Now, the reason you might not want to produce your nectar note, and yep, there's reasons you don't want to. Trust me, we're going to get into that. Not in this episode, but down the road in other episodes, like what's actually blocking your nectar note. I refer to them as vocal masks. There's reasons you don't want to produce your note. There's reasons, convenient reasons that we have forgotten what our note is. Okay. And so there's deeper subconscious psychological work that you need to do. And yes, right there we will find spirituality. But I don't want you to feel like this is a woo-woo thing you have to do to like find your essence of your note. It's a lot of breathing. It's a lot of breath work. It's a lot of understanding the rib cage, the diaphragm, the anatomy of your body. It's connecting to the inhale and the exhale. Now, what happens on the other side of that is a whole bunch of spirituality. Okay. But at the heart of it, it's really somatic. So let's get into that. Your body was built and looks the way it does because of DNA. DNA encodes for your eye color, your hair color, the length of your bones, and therefore the height, and a bunch of other cool things. It also encodes for your apertures inside of you. Your trachea, the width of it, the length of it, the length of the muscles of the vocal cords, the trachea, cartilage, all of this. What makes you look like you and what makes the inside of you a certain shape is all coded via DNA. You can thank your genetics for that. And so your sound is simply air moving through those shapes. And so your signature sound, your nectar note, is literally the sound you were built to make. But the problem is that we don't make that sound. And the reason we don't make that sound is because we have conceptualized, we're really in the head with how we live our lives and how we interact, how we communicate. And to a larger extent, we don't drop down into the body at all to really feel what's going on. because we don't want to get wrapped up in all the emotions because it's a lot, right? We got enough on our plates. And now you want me to drop down in my body and feel all my stress? No. But the problem is just that. The ability to produce your nectar note, what did I already say? It's not a spiritual thing. It's actually rooted in the body itself. But if you are trapped in the head, overthinking, competitiveness, schedules, timetables, to-do lists, and you're avoiding dropping down below the neck into the body to feel, then we're going to have a problem producing your nectar note. And here's the difficulty with that. You have to understand that your nectar note is that vocal honey experience. It creates the vocal honey. It creates a delicious tone that your assigned soul clients, when they hear it, are going to come flocking in. They don't even really care what you're saying. It's literally how you're saying it. It's the whole essence of who you are is coming out through your voice. And that's because our voice represents who we are on the auditory level. Just like your face is your visual identity of what you look like, your voice is the sound of who you are. Kind of cool when you think about it like that, right? When my eyes are closed, if I hear my best friend Miranda talk, I know it's Miranda. I don't need to open my eyes and see her. Her voice identifies her. But when we are in our heads, we cannot produce our nectar note. We are thinking about our sound. And as a result, it actually changes how you speak because your awareness is way up here in the head. And the sound you produce is so far away from the body. It's actually more nasally. For some people, it's really high too. It goes up really around here. This is how I would talk if I were in my head. And if you go back on this YouTube channel or you listen to my podcast, you've heard this sound because I'm thinking about communicating with you. I'm thinking about everything I want you to say and you to feel. I'm thinking about I got to stay on time and stay on task. And then if I were in front of people live right now and I were in my head, I'd also be reading their faces and thinking, wondering if they like me or not. And then my voice is high up here, which actually has no ability whatsoever to get you, the listener, to feel below your head too. Unless I decide to drop it down into my body like I'm doing right now for you to hear the difference. Did you notice that? This is where my nectar note exists. It's much lower in the body. And so I have to do a couple things with the mechanics of my throat and then drop my awareness down, open up my belly more. And now you, the audience member, feels my voice in your body as well. Versus if I go up higher and I'm up here and I'm speaking faster because I'm really focused on getting the information out to you in a certain way that the world has told me to get it out, you are actually only going to hear me and meet me in the head. But that's not what you want to do, right? You're a mission-driven impact baddie. And so you really want people to feel. You want to move people. You have a mission for a reason. People aren't going to get on board with your mission if you're talking to them from your head. People want to feel what you feel. They want to feel a certain way. And when they feel, that's the vibe check, right? When they feel a certain way from you, they're going to know, okay, this is my person. Check. Where do I sign up? Take my credit card. Or nope, this isn't my person. Okay, I'm going to go over here. So we immediately get to help people quickly decide, yes, you're the coach for them, or no, you are not the coach for them. And that's good. We want people to know quickly, you got the medicine for me or you don't. And if you don't, all love, just like we get to send you quicker on your path. So I'm not wasting your time and you're not wasting mine. So when we speak from our nectar note, it's also efficient for everyone involved. People aren't deciding, wasting time. Should I work with you? Shouldn't I work with you? And you're not getting wishy-washy clients who are indecisive. But if you learn how to speak in a certain way, your DNA coded nectar note, people are going to quickly understand whether you are the person for them or not. And you're going to have to say less words to get the job done because you're transferring not what you're saying, but how you're saying it. By simply getting out of your head and dropping into your body and producing your signature sound, your signature frequency, that nectar note, We are doing so much to tidy up the energy inside of your leadership. Hopefully, by now, you're like, wow, I get that. I've heard people, Kim, who are all in their head, and I love what they're saying, but no wonder I can't connect with them. I love what they're saying. I love how they're dressed. I love their branding, but there's something about it. Yeah, they're probably not speaking from their nectar note. They're speaking with a hyper conceptualized thinking of their voice. It's got to be professional. It's got to be powerful. It's got to sell. It's got to captivate. It's got to hook. When we overthink, where else would our sound be produced? But from the cognitive faculties of the mind. And we're missing the human component altogether. And now the other thing I want to say about producing your nectar note is a lot of you are nervous about speaking. And I understand completely. Speaking takes practice and it takes time to get comfortable as you learn to create your signature sound. You are actually going to experience less fear and overthinking when it comes to public speaking. So that should be like great news for you right now, right? Like, let me know in the comments if that's great news. I know a lot of you are placing public speaking on this false pedestal, thinking that you've really got to change and become this different type of person in order to really land and connect. And that pressure is actually not making you show up at all. It's having the opposite effect. You don't want to show up. You're having trouble being seen. You're nervous when you go to speak. But when you learn how to produce it, you actually start to love speaking because you're built to make that note. It's easy. Speaking rolls out of your body, out of the chambers of your throat and your heart and your lungs. Remember, you're built to produce a specific sound. So I don't know, this analogy is coming to me. It's like taking a Ferrari engine and putting inside of a Toyota, right? That Toyota is going to have some difficulty, probably, I imagine. Car people, don't come at me. But really feeling and performing like a Toyota should. But if we took a Toyota and put a Toyota engine in and everything was lining up perfectly and felt a certain way, it was driving a certain way, everything was working the way it was built to, you're going to have a completely different experience in that car. You're actually going to be like, I love this car. Oh my God, it's perfect, right? That's because everything that's inside of that vehicle was meant to be there. So this is where we actually get to look at, like, who are you trying to be when you speak? Why would you try to make any other sound? So if you knew there was another way to speak, would you want to learn how to do it? And if that new way of speaking actually helped you produce the sound and tone and frequency you were meant to create, knowing that's going to actually make speaking so much more enjoyable, and knowing that that's going to keep you in your zone of genius, and knowing that the people that are meant to work with you in this lifetime are going to hear you and go, oh, wait, that's going to stop the scroll. They're going to lean in, they're going to double tap, they're going to follow, they're going to like. If you feel good while speaking, they are going to feel good while hearing. So we need to go on this journey together. We need to have this discussion. And this is why I am all about teaching you how to find your nectar note, how to produce that vocal honey so you can have that vocal honey effect, and how to actually entrain, hypnotize, magnetize your ideal dream clients faster than ever before into your programs and into your products, so that your voice literally is starting to help you create wealth and money and opportunity and so much positive impact in the world. If you like this video, you found it helpful, guys, do me a favor and like it, share it with someone who you think would benefit from this, and then tell me in the comments, what is your biggest takeaway from this video? And what are you most curious to learn based on what I just shared below? So in the next few videos, we're going to be unpacking how to find your nectar note. We're going to be unpacking what it means to actually descend from the head, from this conceptualized icky voice that isn't you, a robotic voice actually, into your actual temple and body to unlock that, and why you might be blocking yourself from actually doing that, producing your nectar note, and what we can do about it. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for being here.